3:47 a.m. That's the time my phone lit up the dark of my penthouse bedroom. It's a space designed for peace, minimalist, soundproofed against the city noise 30 floors below. It's the kind of quiet money buys, the kind of quiet I dreamed about when I was sleeping in bus stations 15 years ago. I shouldn't have looked. I should have let it wait until my assistant screened it at 9. But insomnia is an old friend of mine, a ghost from back then that never quite left. I rolled over. The blue light stung my eyes. It was an email. The subject line was just one word, please, and the sender name. Seeing those two names together, it didn't feel like anger, not at first. It felt like someone had swung a sledgehammer into my sternum. It felt like the air suddenly rushed out of the luxury apartment I'd built to keep people like them out. My parents. The same people who, 16 years ago, looked at their teenage child, skinny, terrified and begging, and decided I was disposable. They were writing to tell me they missed me. They had seen the Forbes article. They had seen the Tech Titan under 40 profile. Suddenly, the son they threw away was the son they always knew was special. They want to reconnect. They want forgiveness. But this isn't a Hallmark movie. This is real life. And in real life, when you burn a bridge with napalm, you don't get to walk back over it just because you see gold on the other side. They think this is a reunion story. They're wrong. This is what happens when you realize that the best revenge isn't just living well. It's letting the people who destroyed you watch you build a kingdom they will never, ever be allowed to enter. Welcome to my story. To understand why that email at 3 a.m. felt like a physical attack, you have to understand the house I grew up in. It looked perfect from the street. Manicured lawn, fresh paint every 2 years. My parents were masters of optics. My father was a mid-level executive terrified of slipping down the ladder. My mother was the community social chair, terrified of anyone seeing a crack in the veneer. In our house, love was conditional. It was a transaction based on performance. And I was the underperforming asset. I wasn't bad. I got A-minuses. I played JV soccer, not varsity. I was okay. But okay was a cardinal sin in that house, especially when compared to my older brother, Leo. Leo, the golden boy, straight A's, captain of the debate team, charming. He had that effortless charisma that made adults want to mentor him and peers want to be around him. My parents didn't just love Leo more. They were invested in him. He was their retirement plan, their status symbol. I was just extra inventory. If Leo broke a vase, it was an accident. If I broke a vase, it was a symptom of my inherent carelessness. If Leo got a B, it was the teacher's fault. If I got a B, I wasn't trying hard enough. You learn to shrink in an environment like that. You learn to take up less space, to make less noise, so you don't trigger the disappointment. I spent my childhood apologizing for existing in their periphery. I remember being 14. I had saved up for 6 months to buy a cheap acoustic guitar. I was teaching myself in the basement, the only place I felt safe. I wasn't great, but I loved it. It was mine. One night, my parents were hosting a dinner party. Leo, who was 16 then, had been drinking with his friends. He snuck back into the house, stumbling drunk, and knocked over an antique lamp in the foyer. It shattered loud enough to stop the conversation in the dining room. My father stormed out. He saw the broken glass. He saw Leo leaning against the wall, bleary-eyed. And then Leo looked at me, standing in the basement doorway with my guitar. Leo said, "Alex was running around with that stupid guitar and knocked it over." It was such a clumsy lie. Leo reeked of cheap beer. But my father didn't even look at Leo. He turned to me. His face was purple. He didn't ask for my side, he just grabbed the neck of my guitar. I begged him. I said, "Please, I paid for that. It wasn't me." He smashed it against the door frame. Once, twice, until the wood splintered and the strings snapped with a sound that still screams in my nightmares. "Clean up this mess," he told me. Then he took Leo into the kitchen to give him some water and coffee before the guests saw him. I spent the night gluing the body of the guitar back together with wood glue, crying silently so I wouldn't wake them. It never played right again. That was the dynamic. Leo broke things, and I paid for them. But I could handle the broken guitar. What I couldn't handle was what happened when I turned 16. The event that changed everything. The reason I'm sitting in a penthouse tonight instead of a guest room in their suburban prison. It was the summer before my junior year. The atmosphere in the house was brittle. My father's company was restructuring, and the tension was palpable. Money was tight, but appearances had to be maintained. Leo was heading to an Ivy League college in the fall. The tuition was astronomical. My parents were stressed, stretching themselves thin to ensure Leo got his perfect launch. Then, the money went missing. My father kept an emergency cash stash in his home office safe. About $5,000. One Friday, he went to deposit it and it was gone. The interrogation was swift. They sat us both down at the kitchen table. It felt like a tribunal. My father looked at Leo. "Did you take it, son? Be honest. Are you in some kind of trouble?" His voice was gentle, pleading almost. He wanted Leo to say no so badly. Leo looked them dead in the eye, the picture of injured innocence. "Dad, of course not. How could you even ask me that? I'm getting ready for Yale." Then, the pivot. Two heads turned toward me. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. "Alex," my mother said. Her voice wasn't gentle, it was a blade. "Where is it?" I was stunned. "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't touch the safe. I don't even know the combination." "Don't lie to us." My father slammed his hand on the table. "We know you're jealous of your brother. We know you're acting out because all the attention is on him right now. Did you steal it to sabotage him? To buy drugs? What is it?" I was crying now, hysterical. A 16-year-old boy, pleading for his parents to believe him over the golden child. "I swear, I didn't take it. Check my room, check my bank account, I have nothing." They didn't check. They didn't need evidence. I was the designated villain. It fit their narrative. Leo just sat there, looking at his hands, a slight smirk playing on his lips that only I could see. The verdict was delivered the next morning. I woke up to my father standing over my bed. He threw a duffel bag at me. "Pack," he said. "What? Where are we going?" "You aren't going anywhere. We are staying here. You are leaving. I will not have a thief in my house. I will not have you ruining your brother's future with your criminality." I thought he was bluffing. I thought it was a scare tactic. I packed a few shirts, some jeans, my broken guitar. He drove me to the downtown bus station. He didn't speak the whole way. He pulled up to the curb, kept the engine running. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a $100 bill. He threw it on my lap. "That's more than you deserve," he said. "Don't come back until you've grown up and can pay us back every cent you stole. You're 18 now, as far as we're concerned. Figure it out." The door unlocked with a loud clunk. I stood on the sidewalk, 16 years old, watching the only taillights I'd ever known fade into the traffic. I didn't steal that money. 6 months later, I ran into one of Leo's old friends at a soup kitchen I was volunteering at for a meal. He told me the truth. Leo had developed a nasty online gambling habit. He owed dangerous people money. He took the cash from the safe to pay off a bookie so they wouldn't break his legs before he got to Yale. My parents sacrificed me to save Leo from his own mess. Again. The next 5 years, I don't talk about them much. When they say homeless teen, people picture runaways. They don't picture kids who were thrown away like garbage. I learned fast. I learned that sleep is a luxury. You sleep with one eye open in shelters, hugging your bag so your shoes don't get stolen. I learned that hunger isn't a sensation. It's a presence, a constant gnawing companion. I learned that dignity is the first thing you lose. Begging for a job without an address. Trying to stay clean in public restrooms. The way people look through you on the street, like you're a smudge on the window of their perfect lives. There were nights I almost gave up. Nights when the cold seemed to seep right into my bones, and I thought about using that last $10 for something that would just make it all stop. But anger is a powerful fuel. Every time I felt weak, I pictured my father's face at the bus station. I pictured Leo's smirk. I decided I wouldn't die in the gutter just to prove them right. I would survive out of pure spite. I got a job washing dishes under the table at a diner. The owner, an old Greek guy named 𝐁𝐞𝐲𝐨𝐧, saw I was sleeping in the alley behind the kitchen. He let me sleep in the storage closet on a cot. It smelled like bleach and onions, and it was the best bedroom I'd ever had because nobody there hated me. I finished high school online using the library computer. I worked 3 jobs. I saved every penny that didn't go to food or rent for a tiny studio apartment that had cockroaches the size of my thumb. I taught myself to code at night. It made sense to me. Computers were logical. If there was an error, it was because of the code, not because the computer woke up in a bad mood and decided to take it out on you. It was fair. I got good, really good. By 22, I freelanced my way into a junior developer job. By 25, I was leading a team. By 28, I developed the software that changed everything. It was a supply chain optimization algorithm. Boring to explain, but incredibly valuable to logistics companies. I sold my first company for 8 figures when I was 30. I started another one. Sold that one for 9. Suddenly, I wasn't Alex the disposable son. I was Alexander Vance, the innovator, the disruptor. I bought the Penthouse. I bought the tailored suits that acted as armor. I learned to speak the language of power, to walk into a boardroom and own the space. But inside, I was still that 16-year-old boy standing at the bus station. I just had better camouflage. I never looked them up. I didn't want to know. I assumed Leo was a senator or a CEO somewhere, living the life my sacrifice paid for. I had dated, but it never lasted. I couldn't let anyone in. As soon as someone got close, I'd sabotage it. I couldn't risk being vulnerable again. My capacity for trust had been shattered on that kitchen table back in the suburbs. My life was successful, yes, but it was cold. It was a fortress built of money and achievements, designed to keep out the pain. And then the Forbes article happened. A full spread, my face on the cover, the headline reading, "The Billion-Dollar Orphan." They loved the angle that I came from nothing. I never corrected them. It was easier than explaining I came from worse than nothing. I came from betrayal. That must have been when the Google alerts started pinging on my parents' old desktop computer. Which brings us back to 3:47 a.m. The email. "Alex, please. We saw the magazine. We are so proud. We miss you terribly. We made mistakes. Please, can we just talk? Mom and Dad, mistakes." That's what they called abandoning a minor. A mistake, like forgetting to pick up milk. I sat in the dark for 3 hours, just staring at the screen. The little boy inside me was screaming, "They want you back. They finally see you." But the man I had become, the man 𝐁𝐞𝐲𝐶 the dishwasher had helped build, the man the streets had hardened, he knew better. They didn't miss me. They missed out on this. I shouldn't have replied, but curiosity is a poison, and a small dark part of me wanted them to see. I wanted them to see the suit, the watch, the eyes that weren't afraid of them anymore. I had my assistant set up a meeting, not at my office, at the most expensive, intimidating restaurant in the city, a place where the waiters sneer if your shoes aren't Italian, a place they would never belong. I arrived 10 minutes late on purpose. I saw them from across the dining room. They looked smaller than I remembered, grayer. My father's shoulders, once so squared and imposing, were slumped. My mother was nervously twisting a napkin, looking around the opulent room like she was afraid she'd be asked to leave. They weren't wearing their country club best. Their clothes looked tired, off the rack. When I walked up to the table, they both stood up too fast, knocking silverware. "Alex," my mother breathed, tears instantly welling up in her eyes. They looked practiced. "Oh my God, look at you. You look so expensive." "Sit down," I said. My voice was flat. Business casual. They sat. The waiter came. I ordered a bottle of wine that cost more than their car. I didn't ask what they wanted. "It's so good to see you," my father tried, his voice shaky. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "We tried to find you, you know, years ago." A lie. "Did you?" I asked, taking a sip of water. "Odd. I've had the same social security number the whole time. I wasn't hard to find if you actually looked." The silence stretched. We were hard on you," my mother said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. I pulled it back sharply. She flinched. "We thought it was tough love. We thought you needed a push." "A push is kicking me out of the nest," I said. "You threw me off a cliff without a parachute because you thought I stole $5,000. By the way, did Leo enjoy gambling it away?" Their faces went ghostly pale. The air left the table. You know?" my father whispered. "I've known for 15 years. It took me about 6 months on the street to find out the truth. You threw away the wrong son." My mother started sobbing quietly. "We didn't know until later. We swear. By then you were gone. We were ashamed." Ashamed enough to let me starve? Ashamed enough to never file a missing persons report? I leaned forward, letting the anger seep into my voice now. "Cut the crap. Why are you here? You didn't come here to apologize. You've known where I was for years if you cared to look. You're here now because you saw the magazine. You're here because you need something. What is it?" They exchanged a desperate look. My father took a deep breath. The facade of the strong patriarch completely gone. He looked pathetic. It's Leo," he said. "Of course it was. What about the golden boy? Is his Senate seat in jeopardy?" "He's in trouble, Alex. Real trouble," my mother pleaded. He works in finance now. Hedge funds." I nodded. "I know. I keep tabs. He made some bad calls," my father continued, sweating now. "Used client money to try and cover losses. It's Ponzi scheme level stuff, Alex. The SEC is investigating. If they indict him, he's going away for 20 years. His life is over." I sat back, swirling the expensive wine in the glass. I felt absolutely nothing. "So?" I asked. We need money for his legal defense, the best lawyers, and maybe restitution. If he can pay some of it back before charges are filed, maybe they'll go easy on him." "How much?" My father swallowed hard. $4 million, to start." I almost laughed. I had to bite the inside of my cheek. "Let me get this straight," I said slowly, enjoying every syllable. "You kicked me out at 16 with $100 because you thought I stole $5,000. Now, the son you kept, the one who actually did steal it, stole millions more. And you want me, the throwaway child, to bail him out with the fortune I built while you forgot I existed." "He's your brother," my mother shrieked, forgetting where she was. People at nearby tables turned to look. Doesn't family mean anything to you? The audacity of it took my breath away. Family? I stood up. I wasn't shouting, but my voice carried the weight of 15 years of silence. You forfeited the right to use that word when you chose a thief over an innocent boy because he fit your picture better. You don't want a son. You want an ATM. I threw a $500 bill on the table. That should cover dinner. Consider it repayment for the $100 you gave me at the bus station with interest. We're square now. I turned to leave. Alex, please, my father begged, grabbing my sleeve. If you don't help him, they'll destroy him. And then I stopped. I turned back to them and I smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of the wolf finally cornering its prey. You don't get it, do you? I said softly. They looked confused. You think the SEC just happened to look into Leo's fund right after my Forbes article came out? You think that was a coincidence? My mother stopped crying. Her eyes went wide with horror. My father dropped my sleeve as if it were burning him. I didn't just build a software company, Dad. I built an information empire. I've known what Leo was doing for 3 years. I watched him dig that hole deeper and deeper. I had the data. I had the transaction logs. I had everything. I leaned in close, so only they could hear the venom in my whisper. Who do you think sent the anonymous tip package to the SEC last month? Who do you think gave them the roadmap to nail him? My mother put a hand over her mouth, a choked sound escaping. No, you wouldn't. I did. I burnt his life to the ground, just like you burnt mine. Only I used facts. You used favoritism. I straightened up, adjusting my cuffs. Leo isn't going to get off with restitution. He's going to prison. And you two, you're going to watch the golden child rot in a cell, knowing that the son you threw away is the one holding the keys, and he's never, ever going to use them. I walked out of that restaurant. I didn't look back. I went back to my penthouse. It didn't feel cold anymore, it felt secure. I sat by the window looking out over the city lights. I finally cried for that 16-year-old boy with the broken guitar. I cried for the parents I wished I'd had, but they were tears of release, not sadness. Leo was indicted 2 days later. It was all over the news. My parents are selling that perfect suburban house to pay for a mediocre lawyer. Their reputation is destroyed. The optics they cared so much about are shattered forever. They still email me sometimes, begging, screaming, blaming me for everything. I set up a filter. Their emails go straight to a folder I'll never open. Some people say revenge is empty. They say forgiveness is the only path to peace. Maybe they're right for some people, but for me, seeing the truth finally win, seeing the people who broke me finally have to face the reality of what they built. It doesn't feel empty. It feels like justice. It feels like I can finally put down the weight I've been carrying since that day at the bus station. I'm Alexander Vance. I built an empire out of the ashes they left behind, and they are forever barred from the gates. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just succeeding. It's ensuring the people who bet against you lose everything they have. This was my story. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't about love. It was about survival. If you understand what it's like to have to build yourself from nothing because the people who were supposed to love you failed, if you believe that sometimes you have to be your own hero and your own avenger, then you're in the right place. Subscribe and like this video. Welcome to Revenge Beyond Love.